There's certain doors in your life that will only, listen to this, that will only be unlocked because of your obedience to God. You can pray as much as you want to, things won't change. You can fast all you want to, things won't change. You can do whatever you want, right? Until you are fully obedient to God, certain doors will always stay closed. And that's why you look at people's lives today. They've been praying to God about the same thing for years. Now, I understand there are times when there's, demonic influence. I understand there are times when there's certain obstacles that's in your way. But for the most part, your obedience will get God to push for you more than anything else. And that's why when we fast, you're not fasting for God to do something great. What fasting does is it humbles you before the Lord. So people think that when you fast, you're getting God to change his mind about something. Yes, sometimes that can happen. But when you fast, it is so that you can become obedient, you can become submissive to what God wants you to do. And there's some of you right now that your biggest breakthrough is already there. What you've been praying and believing God for has already happened in the realms of the Spirit. But what God wants you to do at this point is to be obedient, to follow the next steps. See, there's a process anytime that you want to do something for the Lord. And one of the hardest things that all of us have to deal with is when we have to be obedient to something that we don't want to do. I'm sure you've probably said something like, I'll never do this. I'll never. When it comes to what God wants you to do, you have to remove that word never. If it's not aligned with God's will. Because I've seen people that say, I'll never do this. I'll never. And the same thing they said they would never do becomes the same thing that they can't stop doing. Your obedience is going to create so much for you. Obedience attracts God. And so we're going to read from the verse here. And you're going to see why it's so important for me to be obedient to God. Did you know that there are some people's destiny that is tied to your obedience? There are people's lives that are dependent on you. They are waiting for you to be fully obedient to God. You can't be partially obedient to God. You can't be obedient only when you feel like it. Because there are going to be times when God will require something from you that is so major, that is so big, that sounds so outrageous. And you can't say, God, I'm going to be obedient to you only when I feel like it. Your obedience have to be permanent. In other words, you have to get to a place in your life by yourself or by force that you say, God, I am going to be obedient to you no matter what the consequences are. Are you in a place in your life that you said you're going to be obedient to God? Because obedience is painful. But let me tell you something. When you are obedient to God, I'm going to share something here with you guys. When you're obedient to God, it is going to unlock doors that will shock you.